everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The Push with Nick and KP. We are back once again to bring you a weekly recap, this time of Friday Night SmackDown, which took place on March 6th in Portland, Oregon. We are just 6 weeks away from WrestleMania 42. We kick off the show with the Viper and the winner of the men's elimination chamber match, Randy Orton. Randy says he's been thinking about that WrestleMania sign all day, and that he's been part of 20 of them throughout his career, but has only main evented twice. Randy says that he earned his path to Mania this year, and although his opinion of the two possibilities of challengers vary immensely, it doesn't change the fact that he'll be leaving WrestleMania 42 with that undisputed WWE Championship title around his waist. We then essentially get a cameo from Trick Williams, who comes out and says he should be the one main eventing WrestleMania, and then gets an RKO for his troubles. Getting into our first match of the evening, we see Carmelo Hayes continue his United States Open challenge, this time against AAA's own El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr. It was a pretty good matchup, and I think a lot of people probably don't have a ton of eyes on him, myself included. We watch AAA on occasion, but certainly are not weekly viewers, but really no reason for it. El Hijo kind of shows that he is quite the competitor here, gives Carmelo a run for his money here, but in the end, Carmelo hits a nothing but net, and still your U.S. champion is Carmelo Hayes. But a sign of respect after the match to El Hijo from Carmelo after this contest, very much well deserved. Our next segment of the evening is a celebration of our new women's tag team champions, Nia Jax and Lash Legend, the Irresistible Forces. Lash and Nia say that anyone in the back can challenge for these titles, but to be warned, because whoever does step up doesn't stand a chance. Charlotte and Alexa come down to the ring, quickly followed by Kiana James and our women's U.S. champion, Julia. Nick Aldis then comes out to say that we don't resolve things on SmackDown with debates, we settle them in the ring. And we do just that with our next match of the night, which is a decent contest here, but the ending does have Charlotte hitting a natural selection on Julia to get the win here. And although this match isn't a number one contenders match per se, it was very heavily implied that the winner of this match would be kind of jumping up the ladder to challenge the Irresistible Forces. Interesting here because a lot of the tag teams are kind of involved in the Intercontinental title scene right now currently. So with those kind of members gone and preoccupied, if you will, it does kind of show that we don't have a ton of competitors left. So I imagine the reason is why this isn't a number one contenders match is whoever doesn't come out of the IC scene on Monday in that gauntlet match will probably come over here and join this particular scene here. So good enough match for what it was. Charlotte and Alexa, I thought we're kind of flirting with a separation, but it looks like for now that is being pushed off just a little further. We then see another Sammy Cody promo in the back. Sammy is saying kind of what we're all saying. Cody hasn't earned this title match he's getting tonight, but he also didn't win the Elimination Chamber. Sammy once again backs down though for some strange reason and says that he has was just coming to tell Cody good luck. Sammy is clearly struggling with his own voices in his head, and then we have another segment later on in the evening where, funny enough, those words do come into play. He's trying to pick Randy Orton's brain and the good versus evil bit, and in the end, the facts are that he's a 14-time champion, and the conclusion here is sometimes you just got to fight for yourself, and I think Sammy's clearly kind of struggling with that, so yeah, interesting character choice there for Sammy, kind of standing up to Cody. Maybe he will end up getting a feud with Cody down the road. It kind of seems like that's where we're headed. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that one. We then get a number one contenders tag turmoil match for the WWE Tag Team Championship. This starts off with Motor City Machine Guns going up against Fraxium. Fraxium does end up getting the win over MCMG here to get the first elimination. Now, there was an interesting bit in the ending here, but before MCMG can really do much about it, we get Los Garza coming down to the ring, and they quickly get the win to eliminate Fraxium. Our next team is the Wyatt Six. Unfortunately, as I'm sure many would have expected here, Wyatt Six do come down, distract them just enough, MFT come down to distract Wyatt Six just enough, and Los Garza does take advantage here. MFT and Wyatt 6 then brawl outside of the ring and continue to do so as we focus back in the ring on the last two teams of the match, which is Garza and the new teaming of Damian Priest and R-Truth, which was kind of shown in a backstage segment earlier in the evening. Los Garza do put up a fight here, but just have endured too much throughout this gauntlet and do end up getting beat by R-Truth and Damian Priest, who hit the South of Heaven and AA in unison to get the win. And very quickly, after becoming a team for no less than an evening, become the number one contenders for those WWE Tag Team titles. So, as hit on by commentary, though, Los Garza absolutely gets the MVP of this matchup here. They truly have come a long way and deserve a lot more respect than they do get in this tag division, which is, obviously very stacked, but for some reason doesn't get booked properly. And, I think this is just kind of showing kind of the disrespect of that whole division. Nothing against Truth and Damian Priest per se, but the fact they've been together for one night and then kind of come in here and do that, it's a questionable decision, but regardless, we continue to move on. We then see Rhea Ripley, this year's Elimination Chamber winner, making her way down to the ring as she said she would. She makes her way to SmackDown and immediately calls out her WrestleMania opponent, the WWE Women's Champion, Jade Cargill. Jade shakes the hand of Rhea and then says she respects her, but she's not impressed with her, whatever that means. She goes on to say she has big arms and legs, but that Jade's are bigger. Rhea comes back and says she respects the honesty, and Jade may be bigger, but it's all for show, and Rhea is built for this business. A decent enough promo, I suppose. Very, very basic, but we'll see what they continue to do. Like I said, they still have 6 weeks to go, so we'll see what they can do in the meantime. We then see a Johnny Gargano with Candice in the ring. It seems that Johnny wrestling is back to normal after Candice finally talks some sense into him. Johnny gets up, seems to be normal once again, says it's been too long, and issues an open challenge to anyone in the back. Unfortunately for Gargano, the call is answered by Oba Femi, and you can immediately see where the story is going. The face on Johnny's face says it all, much like the face of Mrs. not that long ago. But like every other opponent that has the misfortune of being in the ring with Oba, Johnny is quickly disposed of, and it appears Johnny will now quickly transform back into that comatose state that he has been in. Very much looking forward to that Oba Femi and Rusev contest, but this is a nice kind of filler in between. We then see Danhausen in the back with Nick Aldis, much like his introduction with Mr. Pierce on Monday. Danhausen lists out his Demandhausens, but Nick says he's unable to find him a mentor, but then sees an opportunity right before his eyes and passes Danhausen off to The Miz. The Miz says he won't be mentoring him, but Danhausen says that he absolutely will, or he'll be cursed, and then reminds him what happened to the last man that he cursed. And if you weren't a fan yet of Danhausen, what are you waiting on? This is super entertaining, and I can't wait to see what they do with him next. That curse is truly very, very real and very powerful, so I wouldn't mess with him if I were anyone else on the roster. We then get into our main event, which is the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, going up against the Scottish psychopath, Drew McIntyre, for that undisputed WWE Championship. A good back and forth here after Drew faces the fact that he couldn't leave the match at the beginning. Getting into the final stages of the match, Cody tries to put Drew through the announce table, but it breaks just due to the weight of them and kind of shifting back and forth. Cody then grabs a Slim Jim table, but he's the one that gets powerbombed through it. Drew then hits Cody with a crossroads. Cody returns the favor, hits Drew with a Claymore kick, neither of which end the match. Charles Robinson ends up getting knocked out a bit inadvertently here, as these things tend to go. Cody then hits a crossroads, but no ref can be seen until Cody calls another one down to the ring. The ref then gets there just in time for Cody to get hit with the Claymore, but it's only good for a 2 count, although very close to a 3. So close to a 3, in fact, that it does frustrate Drew, and he hits the second ref with a Glasgow kiss. Drew then grabs a chair, but Fatu then finally shows up, as assuming we kind of hoped and thought he would. Just wasn't sure what his intentions would be. Cody then hits a super cutter and a crossroads to get the win and new undisputed WWE champion, Cody Rhodes. The crowd came across as very pleased here, but I'm assuming, like most or quite a few out there, I am not really a fan of this. This comes across as too forced and doesn't make a ton of sense in kind of the story they've been building. I'm a huge Cody supporter, And even I can't support this. Logic just doesn't check out here for me. What we should have had is Jacob kind of come in, because now Jacob doesn't have a shot for the title, which is, I think, obviously he wanted revenge on Drew, but I think a title shot was that kind of in the cards as well. But what he should have done is just kind of ended both of these guys here, and somehow that should have ended the match, and then we should have gone to Drew, Jacob, Randy, and Cody. But that is not the case. That's not what WWE decided to do. I don't know why they don't have any trust in Drew, but once again, Drew has been kind of screwed over when the time matters most. It's clear they wanted Randy Orton, but I just don't understand why we couldn't have had the all four guys kind of in there. Yeah, it is unfortunate, but it is what it is. Cody is champion once again. And I don't have any issues with Cody being champion once he is champion, but the fact that this was the path to do it just doesn't set right with me. And I'm assuming a lot of the IWC is probably thinking the same at this moment. But yeah, overall, a very heavy storyline episode of SmackDown. The difference of the kind of last few storyline heavy episodes is all the matches we did have were good. Some questionable booking decisions, but doesn't take away from the fact that the matches were good. The Carmelo and El Hijo de Wagner Jr. match was good. The tag team turmoil match and the Oben Johnny match very much serves a purpose. And then the main event, some great matches there. Like I said, not a huge fan of the booking decisions, but the matches we got were pretty good. But yeah, just 6 weeks away from WrestleMania. Very much looking forward to the path we get there. It comes a little more clear every single week. Rating for this, I'd probably have to give it a 7. That booking decision there at the end drops it. I felt like we were having a really good episode up until then, everything kind of serving a purpose. But unfortunately, that does drop it a bit for me. Had Cody retained, or Drew retained, probably would have been setting it close to an 8 at least. But yeah, just a sour taste in my mouth there to end the show. But enough from us here at The Push. What did you all make of this episode of SmackDown? Please let us know in the comments below. As always, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button as well. We'll be back shortly with that NXT Vengeance Day reactions video, as well as our continued WrestleMania project leading up to WrestleMania 42. But until next time, this has been another episode of The Push with Nick and KP. We'll see you soon. Take care.